TellyCast.
Hi, I'm Justin Crosby, and welcome to another TellyCast. Before we get into this week's show, I wanted to encourage you to subscribe to TellyCast for free on YouTube. Our channel is growing fast, and we'd love you to be part of our community there, so please do click on the link in the episode description and hit that subscribe button. Okay, so this week we're in Toledo, Spain, for Conecta Fiction and Entertainment, where over 1,000 execs from all around the world, and especially Spain, Portugal and Brazil, gathered for the 8th edition of the TV industry event. My guests are Renato Martinez, VP Content and Acquisitions at Endemol Brazil, Maria.ruaaguete, Senior Director at Research Business Omdia, and Paloma Mora, CEO of Valencia's TV on Producciones. They're coming right up on this week's TellyCast. Welcome to our coverage of Conecta Fiction and Entertainment here in Toledo, where we're here. It's a packed show, 800, 900 delegates here from all around the world talking about Spanish content and all the issues and challenges that everyone's overcoming when it comes to content funding. And I'm here with Renato Martinez, VP of Content Acquisitions at Endemol Brazil. How are you doing, Renato? Good to see you.
Doing well, Justin. It's a pleasure to talk with you. So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm going to ask you sorry for my English sometimes, but let's move forward.
Well, I'm sorry for my Portuguese, it's and my Spanish and all the other languages that I don't know. But so you've got a big role at Endemol Brazil. Tell us about what that entails.
So I lead all the negotiations on the content sales side and also in the acquisition side. So I deal with the platforms and the TV channels and all the content players that want to acquire or a license for Endemol Shine shows or production services. And also I lead the acquisitions with creators and third-party format companies that does not have an operation in Brazil, but has interesting content for us to produce in our territory.
Well, it's a fascinating market. Obviously, it's dominated by Globo, but we know that YouTube and lots of other players have come to the market, and it's an ever-changing market. Tell us about the changes that you've seen over the last 12 months, say, in the Brazilian marketplace.
Yes, it's a huge market. We are almost 220 million people. So in a country with huge dimensions, very diverse. The people from the south are completely the opposite from the people from the north. So the market is changing very fast, not only in the world, but also in Brazil. And what we have been seeing is, aside the importance of streaming, free TVs are still very important in Brazil because Brazil is still a country in development. So if you go to some places that they don't have a big economical situation, TVs are very important for the people, for the culture, and also in the main markets like São Paulo, Rio, Minas Gerais, Brasilia, streamers are very strong. So in these two areas, not only streamers and free TV companies, and also YouTube that applies to everybody.
Yeah, and obviously Endemol Shine in Brazil is well known for all of those mega brands you've got. Tell us a little bit about what's happening with MasterChef and Survivor and lots of your other shows right now.
Sure. So Brazil is very fan on reality shows because Brazilians love a good history. They are used to telenovelas and they see reality shows as a real life telenovela. So Big Brother in Brazil is the only country that has launched the show and has never put outside of her. So Big Brother Brazil has launched in Globo back in 2000 and it is in its 23rd edition. And next year is going to be the 24th.
Has it ever been off air then since it launched?
Never. It's an yearly production for Globo. From January to April, May, and it's very important their production calendar. And as for MasterChef, we are now producing and airing the 11th season for MasterChef, and we have already produced 4 seasons for MasterChef Professionals, 2 seasons for MasterChef Junior, Also for Altogether now that you guys know very well in the UK, we have produced already 6 seasons of the regular version, and we have created a spin-off for kids that we have produced 5 seasons for TV Record. As for The Wall, which is a show that we have been producing also for Global. We are going to start production next week of the 8th season for Global. And as I'm telling you about the Bunny J brands, but also we give production services to other companies. And for Netflix, we have produced already 4 seasons of Love is Blind, and which is launching right now in this very day in Brazil.
All right. Okay. Wow. That's incredible. I mean, obviously a huge lineup of very successful TV brands. Now, you talked about acquiring shows from creators, and can you just expand on that a little bit? What are the new shows that you're buying from other producers or from creators directly, and how's that developing in your business?
Sure. Not only acquiring from creators, but also from other companies. So, for example, we have acquired the option to produce and to sell The Masked Singer in Brazil, and we have done already 5 seasons for Global, which is owned by MBC, which is a Korean company, but they don't have an operation in the country, so we have acquired the option to do it in Brazil, and we have produced. Also, we have the option to produce The Traders that we from now 3 Media that we have been trying to push in our territory, but it's not yet sold. And of course, as for the creators, we are more into the original stories, factual and documentary. So we are in usual contact with local creators to get a chance to understand what they're doing and the best access that they're having to documentaries and factual shows.
Now, we're seeing a production downturn in many markets around the world, particularly in the UK. I mean, there's a lot of the advertising crisis has caused a real downturn in commissioning. A new show's been produced. So there's a real state of turbulence happening in the UK and many other territories as well. How's Brazil coping with it, and how are you seeing that?
We feel a little bit of this turbulence in Brazil as well, because back in 2020, 21, we have a boom on the streaming production side. So we have felt we have surfed this wave in a very good way, not only in Endemol in Brazil, but the Brazilian market as a whole. What we are seeing right now is, I would not say a downsizing of the market, but the streamers, they are more assertive on their picks. So they have more data, they understand what works and what does not work. So they are dealing better with the production companies on which content they will invest and take the risk, because it's always a risk for them. And as for broadcasters, it's a tough moment for the broadcasters, not only in Brazil, but I think all over the world. But as I mentioned to you, broadcasters and free TV channels in Brazil, they are big still. And I think they're going to continue to be. And they are important not only for the culture, but to lead information to the population.
And we've seen YouTube become a huge player, even bigger than it was before, and eclipsing Netflix globally in terms of streaming popularity. And I know that you have a really novel windowing model when it comes to MasterChef. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Back in 2014, MasterChef was sold to Bandeirantes in Brazil, and we got to retain the ancillary rights from the format. So Endemol in Brazil kept digital, consumer products, and social media in a revenue share policy with the channel. And we realized with the channel that YouTube could be a complementary audience for window for our audience that is not in Bandeirantes channel. So
is that a regional channel, or is that distributed all over Brazil?
No, it's a nationwide channel. Okay. And the show goes on air on Tuesdays on the channel, and on Wednesdays morning, about 5 a.m., we release the full episode of MasterChef in YouTube. And it's good to see how the audience reacts on this strategy, because the show has been released on very late night. So we see that people finished to watch in YouTube while they are heading to their jobs. So we see a big wave of consuming of
in the morning.
In the morning, people in trains, people in buses, where they're going to their jobs. There's a lot of audience at this very time, and along the week we have a dedicated team to produce exclusive content of MasterChef, of course, taken out from the original show. But we have React, we have lists to keep the audience engaged.
Behind the scenes, kind of extra
content. Everything, extra content aside the full episodes. And it was such a massive hit that 2 years after, Discovery at that time came to us and they wanted to be the pay TV window for MasterChef in Brazil. So now, since season 3, we have MasterChef on Tuesdays on free-to-air, on Wednesdays on YouTube, and on Fridays on Discovery Home and Health and Max.
Wow, that's a really new development, I think, isn't it, in the Brazilian market? And so, what are sort of insights are you getting from YouTube? Because obviously, that's the benefit of it. You're able to engage with the audience. You can see, how the audience is reacting to different characters and different aspects of the show, but also you get that data, that all important data. And how are you acting on that data then? How are you developing and using that and iterating the show for next season?
When we got to get the reactions from the audience, the show is pre-recorded at least some weeks ahead. So we got to engage people with the exclusive content that we produced exclusive for the channel, and also in social media that is owned by Endemol. So we manage that, and we try to engage people with social media. And of course, every new season we try to get, not we try, we do it. We get all the data from the previous season, and we sit together with the channel and we explain everything and try to make new things and to engage the audience as much as we can. And I think this business model, it does not started as I'm telling you right now. It started as a fully funded broadcaster TV show. But as we have managed to have this kind of business model, and we have revenues coming from different windowing and from different platforms and players, it gets to the power and the force to keep the show on air in each window, and it becomes healthy in a financially way.
Yeah, and are you also selling merchandise through YouTube as well on the back of the shows?
Yes, we do have a commercial package with YouTube. It's a media package exclusive for MasterChef, and in the broadcasters media package, they also include the social media. So we got a 360 media package that clients and advertisers can acquire any boxes they want. If they want to be only free-to-air, it's possible. If they want to be only YouTube, they can. If they want to be only social media, the same. Or they can buy the whole package as a whole.
Well, it's really fascinating the way that's changing, and you're embracing YouTube and using it as a complementary and important new source of revenue.
And one more important thing to mention is to have great partners such as Bandeirantes and now Warner Bros. Discovery was fundamental for us to put together this business model, because they understand that the audiences are complementaries and they do not oppose to each other, or they do not cannibalize.
But I think people are starting to realize that, aren't there? Lots of networks around the world are starting to see YouTube less as the competitor and more as a partner, which has been a long journey, but I think now it's been seen as complementary.
Yes, and I think that some players are keen to do it and some players not, due to their different strategies, but it's great to have partners that embrace this kind of new business model and believes that it can benefits everybody.
And finally, branded content. I know that's big in Brazil. Tell me about how you're working with brands to fund content and become partners with and bring shows to air.
So we are always looking to deliver content, whatever it is, and for whoever and for what client needs. So we do have an exclusive executive for branded content in Brazil, and she's always in contact with companies and with advertising agents to offer not only original content that we can create it from a briefing that they give to us, or to adapt from a format that we already have in our catalog. So we can deliver not only the creativity on the show, but also the production. A good example of this is a show that we produced with Mercado Libre in Brazil, that they came to us and they wanted to produce a game show. And we deliver all the assets on the creative side. We have a production budget set, but they wanted to be in a free-to-air company, in a free TV. So I just pick it up, the telephone, and I realized that the best option would be Record TV. And I talked with the artistic director of Record TV, not the commercial side. If it's going to be possible for him to open a slot in Record TV's grid, because it's not a big advertiser. It needed to be a show. So we produced the show to Mercado Libre that went on air in Record, and it was a good integration between the content with the platform and on free TV and the company and the advertiser, and everybody got happy.
And that's important, isn't it, when it comes to a natural fit, when a brand becomes a natural fit and part of the editorial as well, rather than it being something that jars a little bit. And that's something we talked about at our brand-funded entertainment summit recently.
And when it's not, we can produce for their own channels. When they need to have a big exposure on their brands and on their products, we can produce only for them, for their social media or for their YouTube channels. We have been doing a lot in this kind of content as well.
And that's a big part of your business, branded content in Brazil.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's a big part for us. It's important for our market. And Endemol in Brazil is very keen to continue to grow in this area.
Well, Renato, thank you so much for joining me on TellyCast. It's been fascinating to chat with you. We've got a panel session tomorrow where we're going to be chatting more about these things and much more. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
So my next guest on this week's Conecta Fiction and Entertainment special is Maria.ruaaguete from Omdia. How are you doing, Maria?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for pronouncing my name in such a Spanish way. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I don't know how to say that in Spanish, but but listen, thank you very much for being with us on the show again. It's been some time since we spoke, but always brilliant to have you on. And you did a presentation this morning, which was all about media entertainment and some fascinating stats and facts and figures in there. The first, you opened by basically saying that the media and entertainment market is now worth over $1 trillion. Talk us through some of the highlights of your presentation and your new findings.
Yes, that's correct. So I started saying that the market today, media and entertainment, is $1 trillion, 70% coming from video, and of that video, most of it is streaming video revenues. Then we have games, big source of revenues, more than 200 billion, followed by music and cinema that is recovering, still not pre-pandemic levels, but it's around 41 billion. But then I emphasizing one thing. Yes, video is 70% of that total revenue, but more and more, big part comes from advertising. And that's why we are saying now the future is hybrid, because every single platform, even Netflix, who used to say many years ago, we will never have adverts, even Netflix has advertising, because you cannot survive with a pure SVOD subscription-only model. You need advertising, and you need more things. So that was the first part of the presentation. Then we went a lot into detail about advertising. Who are the big players in the advertising video space? Yes, of course, it's TikTok, it's Amazon, it's Meta. But we also talk about fast services. Fast is a hot topic, it's linear free content. Those fast services around the world will generate 12 billion by 2028. But we need to be very careful with this 12 billion, because most of that will be North America.
Yeah, I think there's over 2,000 different fast channels in North America, isn't there? I mean, and it's growing as well. The number of fast channels across new territories is growing. And what are you seeing the main changes there in terms of countries that are adopting fast?
So, yes, in the US, there are more than 2,000 channels, but because there are lots of news channels as well. So this is something very unique about the US. Also because they didn't have the public service broadcasters we have in Europe, so that free content was very well received. Everyone wanted to watch that content, especially those news channels. But as you saw as well in the presentation, outside the US is more challenging. So UK will be one of the leaders with 500 million in revenues, Australia, Germany. Spain is also in the top 10, so is Italy and South Korea. But we have to be very careful because at the moment, it's not that fast. It's going to be huge in every single region in the world. I'm just back from NEM Dubrovnik. In Eastern Europe, CPMs are really low. Fast is tiny. Middle East, CPMs really low. Fast is tiny. So it's not that it's going to be a huge opportunity every single region in the world. But in those countries where there is appetite, yes, there are more and more channels.
And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of the TV manufacturers are now actually losing money on the hardware that they're selling, and their new revenue streams are essentially becoming advertising and fast. And in some cases, in the States, I know there's new companies that are actually giving away TVs in order to get those free boxes into people's homes and watch those adverts.
Of course, because what you want is to own the data, to own the consumer, to own the eyeballs. So, yes, hardware companies, smart TVs, they have been losing money selling those TVs. The profits are below 1% and sometimes even negative. But with advertising, with services, profits are more than 50%. So it makes sense, sometimes even giving that hardware away to be in the home, to push your advertising. And then a step further is if you are a retailer, you buy that smart TV, you own the OS, you own the whole end to that consumer, then you can get not only advertising revenues, advertise the content you want, the consumer can click and buy your products.
So you're talking about retailers like Tesco's, for example, actually buying TV companies and giving those TVs away, essentially?
Tesco, Boots, all the retailers. I mean, we saw in the US what happened with Walmart. They bought Visio that allows to own the end users to put the adverts and then buy things from Walmart. I think what they want is to have the Amazon model. Amazon doesn't generate money through the TV content, but they do it with the next day delivery, with the e-commerce. So there is a lot of money coming from commerce, and this is what they want to do. And even Netflix, they announced now they're going to open these big stores where they will have an experience, where you can buy the content you see in the shows. So again, Netflix is an example of how things are changing. It's not SVOD anymore. It's music, it's games, it's retail, it's experiences. So companies need to evolve, need to innovate to get more money to monetize the investment in content, because it's not possible to do it with an SVOD subscription.
And another interesting fact and figure that you came out with was Instagram Reels and the rise of Instagram Reels in terms of share of streaming. And I think I saw it was second in the US to YouTube. So that's above Netflix in the US and in the top 3 or 4 in most of the other major markets. That's an amazing rise for Instagram Reels.
Yeah, I was very surprised as well because this data was just released yesterday. So we partnered with Ipsos, Omdia and Ipsos partnered in this consumer survey. And we were very surprised to see how popular Instagram Reels became and how often, because this is for the general population. So it was not only under 35s, 45s. So for the global population, Instagram Reels in the US became the second most popular source of video after YouTube. YouTube is still number 1 everywhere in the world where we do a survey. Even in Middle East, that I just came from Middle East a couple of weeks ago, countries like Saudi Arabia consume more YouTube videos per capita than any other country in the world. So YouTube is the number 1, but now number 2 is Instagram in many countries, above TikTok. It used to be TikTok a few years ago, now it's Instagram Reels. And then in terms of SVOD, it can be Netflix, it can be Amazon, it varies country by country. And another highlight, in the US and in Brazil, fast channels come on the top 10. We have a company like Samsung that they used to sell TVs. Now they are the favorite video service in Brazil, in the top 10. We see Pluto TV as well, that this year they celebrate the 10th anniversary, one of the most watched video services in Brazil as well. And then in the US, you have Tubi, you have Roku. So fast services became so popular in Brazil and in the US, more popular than pay TV. That was another metric that surprised us as well, me and my team, when we were doing this presentation. More people in the US and Brazil watch those free fast channels than they watch Comcast or a pay TV service, which I found very interesting.
Well, it's a really turbulent industry, isn't it? The change is happening all the time. We've heard today from YouTube in Brazil that they've actually acquired the right. One YouTuber in Brazil acquired the rights to the World Cup, and they were streaming it, which is an extraordinary deal. And so we're seeing all sorts of new deals that are happening, distributor to distributor, channel owner to channel owner, and windowing is becoming a really hot topic as well. But there's so much to go through, Maria.
Even Netflix with live sports, going back to Netflix, we will never have advertising. They have advertising. We will not really interested in live sports. They will have live sports. So everyone is trying with everything because every single company in the world needs to find sources of monetizing content, new sources of revenue, reduce churn, and have content that people want to watch.
Well, it's a fantastic presentation. I know we haven't got time to go into AI and all the implications of AI, which is a big part of it as well. So how do we access the presentation, Maria? How can viewers and listeners access the presentation?
So the presentation is a deck of 70 slides that are available on request only. So you can email me, maria.ruaaguete@omdia.com, and I may send it to you for sure, Justin, and for your listeners as well. I will be happy to share the deck with anyone you want me to share it with.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll put Maria's email address in the episode description, so you can check that below and look on your podcast service where we've got the episode description. Maria, thank you so much. Great to see you here in Toledo, your home country, and it's lovely to see you in your element here.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming to Spain. Next year, this will be in Spanish. What about that?
Sí, muy bien.
Fantastic, gracias.
So my next guest on this week's TellyCast special from Conecta Fiction and Entertainment here in Toledo is Paloma Mora from TV on Producciones. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Great to see you, and looking forward to speaking more on our panel tomorrow. You're going to be a guest on that panel, which is brilliant. One of the things that we've been talking about is different funding models and different ways of raising finance, which is a key topic, obviously, in any industry event, particularly now, as there's various different challenges right across Europe. But I know your business, you've really seemingly perfected the co-production model. You've currently got 6 co-productions happening. Tell us briefly about those co-productions, if you can remember all of them, and how they came about, and how those co-productions were created.
Yes, now we're working with different countries. With Portugal now shooting the TV series project. For example, Favorite is a winner the last year in Conecta Fiction for Spanish Film Commission. And this is co-production with Portugal. Why with Portugal? Because there are a second history in the TV series. It's about the mafia Portuguese. And then when we working in the process, the writing team, the script writers, we think what is the country for co-production with Europe? Thinking about this question, I decide is Portugal the best partner for this project? And then in conclusion, the most important is the project, and think about the necessity for the history. What is the most natural co-production? And each production, he has different necessity. And he is necessarily looking for the best partner for this project in concretely. This is the question. Now we co-produce this project with Portugal. We're working with other Portuguese company for the project Past Water, Aguas Pasadas. It's co-production with Portugal. Tomorrow we present in Conecta Fiction also. And we working with Chile for a co-production animation TV series with German in this project. With Mexico is the original idea is based in Spain, but now we adapt this project for shooting in Mexico. Because in this case, it's different because it's a very international concept. We speak with a Mexican company. It's possible to adapt the project for shooting in Mexico DF and Los Angeles. The answer is yes, why not? And in this case, it's possible to adapt. But each project, he has different necessity.
And I imagine tax incentives is a major part of putting that co-production puzzle together. Can you give us some advice for producers that are looking to do more co-production? Because you're co-producing with, like you said, Portugal, Chile, Germany, Mexico, Singapore, Belgium on projects. There's so many of your projects. If you were to give one piece of advice for another production company who wants to get into co-producing more, what would that advice be?
Yes, thank you, because you have mentioned with the co-production with Singapore is a animation feature film. With Belgium, for example, is a TV series project also. And yes, it's crazy thinking co-production Spain-Singapore. In fact, is the first co-production Spain-Singapore. But we have, for example, for financing, we have the regional funds, Valencia regional fund with Singapore regional funds. It's necessary looking for what the necessity for the Singapore fund, necessity the Valencian fund. Okay, you need this, I need this. Looking for the solution for complement. We are complementary.
Yeah, complementing each other, absolutely.
Okay, for you is necessary the scriptwriter, for me is necessary the music, for you is necessary DOP, for me is necessary shooting in Spain, and is in the way looking for the solution for the necessity, the different financing fund. Pre-sales for TV pre-sales, TV platform, pre-sales for platform or funds, public fund, national fund, regional fund, international fund. For example, for Favorite, we are winner. Selected 7 projects in Europe. There are 2 Spanish projects, and Favorite is 1 Spanish project selected.
Well, it looks fantastic. And so you had funding from Menorca, from Spain, exactly. From Portugal.
Exactly. For example, Favorite, we have 4 languages. Menorcan language is very specific for this territory, but it's necessary because this is a real language in this place. And it's Menorca language, Valencian language, Spanish language, and Portuguese language. There are 4 languages. And then, this is crazy for language. Yes, it's possible, it's natural for the history. Yes, why not? Because I speak with Portuguese co-producer or Portuguese people, and I speak Portuñol, is mixed Spanish and Portuguese. The most important is I like understand you. Anyway, I said the people speak the same language and no understand. Yes?
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llama este?
We have that with many accents and different...
Only speak Korean people. But why not different language? It's possible mix different culture, different language, different talent, different shooting in different countries.
Well, you seem to have perfected that. I mean, is there an enormous amount of admin involved in that? I mean, imagine lots of paperwork involved in all of those film funds and local funds, regional funds, and with different production partners and networks, etc. I mean, you must be pretty good at the paperwork.
It's not easy, It's not easy, but it's possible. Normally, we have 2 years for looking for the different piezas, pieces for puzzle. Puzzle. Thank you. Sorry for my English. My English is freestyle. And the most important is looking for the different, we have the complete.
Yeah, putting the pieces together and making a whole. Exactly. Fantastic. Paloma, thank you so much for joining me on TellyCast. It's been lovely to meet you, and Favorites looks fantastic as well. So can you talk about the broadcaster? Is there a broadcaster attached yet? Can you announce them?
In Favorites, we have Eurimas support. We have Valencia Institute of Culture. In Valencia is regional funds, Balearic funds, Tourist or ICIC is Institute Culture of Balearic. We have Max platform. We have RTP because it's a Portuguese TV, national broadcaster. And we have 2 regional TV, Valencian TV, Apunt, and Balearic TV, IB3.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's an amazing lineup. Congratulations again on that project. It looks fantastic, and best of luck with your pitch tomorrow at Conecta Fiction and Entertainment, and best of luck with everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, that's about it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. TellyCast was produced by Spirit Studios and recorded in Toledo. For videos featuring the movers and shakers of the TV and digital content industries, don't forget to subscribe to TellyCast on YouTube. Just click the link in the episode description and hit subscribe. Until next week's show, stay safe